Welcome to Buddha Dharma TV Sunday program. My name is Lisa Chu. Namo Buddhaya. Today we will start with a Dharma talk followed by a song and our weekly Dhammapada session. The Dharma talk today is by a well-known Buddhist monk, Venerable Dhammavudo Mahathera. The Venerable Dhammavudo is a Malaysian monk of Chinese descent, the founder and abbot of Vihara Buddha Gautama in Perak, Malaysia. As a layman, he graduated from the University of Malaya in 1971 and worked as an electrical engineer with the Public Works Department for 12 years. In 1983, he entered the homeless life in the Mahayana tradition. 3 years later, in 1986, he was reordained in the Theravada tradition in Thailand. He authored numerous Dharma books and delivered extensive expositions on the 5 Nikayas. Today's Dharma talk topic is how to get a good rebirth. Let's listen to the second part of this Dharma talk mindfully.
The Buddha said in the suttas, if you have consciousness, it must come together with the 5 aggregates, which is principally body and mind. So, in the suttas, it is said that for a person, for rebirth in the womb, there must be 3 conditions. One is the being to be born in the womb is waiting. This is called the Gandhabba in the suttas. In later books, they call the intermediate body. I think in Chinese they call it Zhongyin Shen, intermediate body. So this being to be reborn in the womb, after it passes away, is waiting to go into the rebirth. And some people who remember their past lives, they said after they passed away, they had a body which was a few inches high, and they're walking around, didn't know where to go. So this being must be present. Second condition is mother and father must come together. Third condition is mother must be in season, is fertile. Then the being lodges itself into the egg of the mother in the womb. And once it lodges itself in the egg starts to grow into a being. If it did not go into the egg will not grow. Like what they call long chong tan. The chicken egg in the factory that is not fertilized. It will not hatch into a chicken because it's not fertilized. So, in the suttas, there is a being that goes into the womb. Secondly, in another sutta, the Buddha said, the being that enters the womb are 4 types. One enters the womb unknowing, blur, enters the womb. Stays there also, blur, doesn't know what's going on. Comes out also unknowing. Another type enters the womb knowing. After he enters the womb, blur, doesn't know. Come out also doesn't know. The third type enters the womb knowing, and then stays in the womb knowing. But when he comes out, he does not know. Then the fourth type, the best, is like our bodhisattva. You see, enter the womb, he knows. Stays in the womb, he knows. Come out also, he knows. So that shows there is a being that enters the womb. There are several things in the suttas that are contradictory to the Abhidhamma. This is one of them. Another thing that makes me accept that there is a soul is that the Buddha has several psychic powers. One of his psychic powers is called this mind-made body. Sometimes when the Buddha's disciples were practicing so hard at night, they try not to sleep. They try to attain the jhanas one by one, and they try to keep mindful 24 hours a day. So like remember Moggallana, he refused to sleep. He was so tired until in the middle of the night he fell asleep. Then the Buddha went to him. But to go to him in the physical body is quite far. So the Buddha, what did the Buddha do? The Buddha came out from the top of his head. Another body came out from the top of his head. And the body is a golden body that looks quite like the physical body. So the Buddha went to this Venerable Moggallana and asked him to wake up and asked him to strive harder. Then he got a shock. The Buddha so far away can come to him. So he knew that the Buddha was watching him. CCTV watching him. Dare not sleep. Night after night. Second night also like that. Too tired, fell asleep. Again the Buddha went to him. Third night also like that. Buddha went to him. So he struggled until 7 days he became an arahant. Didn't sleep for 7 days. So you see, this is another thing that shows there is such a thing as an astral body, like what the Hindus talk about. Another one is in the suttas. Venerable Sariputta said, if a person's karma is so bad that after he passes away, he's destined to go to hell. The hell beings will come up when he's dying. The moment he dies, the hell beings will drag him down to hell. So what are they dragging? They're not dragging, they don't want his smelly corpse, They're dragging his soul down to hell. So what is this soul? This soul is a spiritual part of us. And this soul changes with our character. If you're a ngao ching, you'll be a ngao. Your astral body will be a ngao. So that's why the Buddha said, if you want to go to heaven, you got to change your character right now until you become a deva or a devi now. In other words, your astral body has turned into a deva or a devi. And then you will automatically, the moment you pass away, the heavenly chariot will come for you. But most people, we have a ghost inside there. So if you have a ghost soul, you have to be very careful. If you drive at night, the ghost might cause you to have an accident because the ghost wants you to be his girlfriend or his boyfriend. The moment when you have an accident and you pass away, it's waiting for you. So these devas, devis, and ghosts, they can see our soul inside. So if you are a very virtuous monk, just like some monks, they go into the deep forest to meditate alone. They will meet in the deep forest fierce ghosts and fierce devas. But when these fierce ghosts and devas look at them, they know what type of person this person is. And they will respect if you are a virtuous person. They won't harm you. On top of this evidence in the suttas, this chair is a bit narrow to turn around. On top of these incidents in the suttas, there are incidents in real life that have made me believe. One is that an old devotee of mine in Penang, he said years ago the auntie was dying. And the auntie had a very nasty character, very bad-tempered, full of hatred. 2 days before the auntie died, as she was sleeping, the Dracula teeth came out, long Dracula teeth. All the children saw, they got shocked. And this man who told me he saw himself. So 2 days later, when that lady passed away, the Dracula teeth disappeared. What does it mean? It means the soul is coming out. As we are 2 or 3 days before we die, our body is getting weaker and the soul is coming out. And that's why they start to see another world and all that. So she has turned into this Dracula, fierce ghost. Ghosts also got many types. That's why the moment she died, the soul left the body, and the teeth disappeared. Another one is that recently a lady devotee told me the brother-in-law is a businessman, and because of greed, he went to get some this, what we call Kwai Chai, Kui Kia. Come on now. This ghost, this spirit. When they acquire it, it might be like a baby ghost, very easy to take care. But then as it grows, the teeth will come out. And then it's not satisfied with normal food. He wants blood. And then after that, he wants sex. But he will serve you, whatever you want him to do, he will serve you. So this man, by keeping this spirit, he became a multi-millionaire. But now he's dying. Now that he's dying, the ghosts want to come and bring him for rebirth. So of course he's scared. Hold on to life, refuse to die. Drag on, day after day, drag on. Now this devotee told me, the sister says, the husband's face has turned into a fierce being, totally different face. Going for rebirth in the fierce realm. So you see, that person, if he's going for rebirth in whatever realm, his face will change. The other one, also a young devotee, beginning of this year, told me the mother was dying of cancer. I had asked the mother to come to keep 8 precepts in our monastery. She came 2 or 3 times, but could not stay long. Too much attachment, she went back each time. So as she was dying, over the few days before she died, her face started to change into a ghost face. The son got alarmed. The son called me up and told me, I said, most people are like that. Most humans, when we die, a normal human being will take rebirth in the ghost realm. If you do evil, you'll be either an animal or a hell being. But a normal person, because of selfishness, will turn into a ghost. Because you have used up our good karma. As a human being, we are like a deva or devi. A lot of people don't realize, as a human being, we have a better life than some devas and devis. Those low devas, like ghosts, this snake devas, nagas, and garudas, bird devas, they have to kill to cari makan. You don't have to kill. But there are some poor people, every day they have to hunt, they have to fish to survive. Those low devas are like that. But you're all very well off, You see, you can listen to Dhamma in an aircon room. Yeah. Like in heaven, like that. So, here's another case. Another one, many years ago, one man told me his real experience. He was probably a gangster. He told me at one time, there were 4 men out to kill him, They chased him. He knew they wanted to kill him. So he ran for his life as fast as he could. And these 4 men were behind him, chasing him. Suddenly he heard a gunshot. He kept running, Kept running, and then something told him to look back. So when he looked back, he saw his body on the ground. And he was out of his body. And then this intuitive thought came to him, I must go back. I must go back. So he went back to his body and he survived. If he did not go back to his body, he would not have survived. That's why nowadays you find on the internet a lot of out-of-body experiences. Yeah, especially some people who are on the operating theater. They are under anesthesia. They don't know anything. Suddenly they come out of the body, and they see the doctor operating on them and the nurses, everything. But then, because of attachment, they come back. If they don't come back, they'll never come back. So all these make me believe that there is a soul. So to summarize, our rebirth depends on our karma. And our karma depends on our mind state, whether we have a wholesome mind or unwholesome mind. So you want to have a good rebirth, you have to develop yourself to have a wholesome mind. Then you will perform wholesome actions. And for that, the Dhamma is extremely important. A few months ago, I was in Manila, giving Dhamma talks for a few days, and there were many Catholics who came to listen. I asked them, what is the biggest sin in the world? Some people said, kill somebody. I said, no. I could not answer. What is the biggest sin in the world? Anybody know? Ignorance, not knowing the Dhamma. If you don't know the Dhamma, you do things that you should not do. Yeah? And you don't do things that you should do. So you will go for a bad rebirth. Now, what is the best rebirth? If you were to ask the Buddha, he will say what? No rebirth is good rebirth. Just like we say, no news is good news. So how to get no rebirth or always good rebirth? Just now we talked about karma and all that, to get a good rebirth. But that is for 1 or 2 lives, You cannot guarantee that you have a good rebirth all the time. So how to guarantee that you have a good rebirth all the time is to become an Arya. Basically, there are 4 types of Arya. You can say 8 types or so. 8 types in the sense that first path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. But once you attain the path, it turns to fruit in the same lifetime. That's why sometimes people say only 4 types of Arya, the 4 fruits. Now, for lay people, I mentioned just now that it's almost impossible for you to attain the jhanas. Why? Because in the description of the first jhana, it is said, aloof or secluded from sensual desires, secluded from unwholesome states, a monk enters and abides in the first jhana. So for a person to attain the first jhana, you must be secluded or aloof from sensual desires and from unwholesome states. To be secluded from sensual desires and unwholesome states, you have to be a renunciant. A normal lay person, you have a lot of desires, yeah. So that's why lay person is almost impossible to attain the jhanas. Now, concerning the Aryans, there is a sutta which says that this sutta is Anguttara Nikaya 3.86 that says Sotapanna and the Sakadagamin, the first and the second fruit Arya, they have perfect sila. And just now I said perfect or Aryan sila is the 7 precepts. The second fruit, Sakadagamin, has perfect sila and the third fruit, the Anagamin, has perfect sila and samadhi. Perfect samadhi is the 4 jhanas. So the Anagamin must have 4 jhanas. The Arahan, which is the 4th fruit, must have perfect sila, samadhi and panya. So the 3rd fruit and the 4th fruit must have 4 jhanas. Now the difference between the Sotapanna and the Sakadagamin is that the Sotapanna does not need any jhana. The Sakadagamin needs either the 1st or the 2nd or the 3rd jhana. There are some monks that say even Sotapanna you need the 1st jhana. But there is a sutta which confirms that the Sotapanna does not have jhana, and that is Samyutta Nikaya 55.40. There it says there are 2 types of Sotapanna, the diligent and the negligent. The diligent Sotapanna, after he becomes a Sotapanna, he makes further effort to attain the jhanas. The negligent Sotapanna, after he attains Sotapanna, he does not make any more effort to attain the jhanas. That shows both of them also don't have jhana. So for lay people, to attain Sotapanna is not difficult. No need to strive for Sakadagamin. Cao liao, Sotapanna. Chak wei liao. Once you have attained Sotapanna, which is by listening to the suttas, the Buddha says you have 7 more lifetimes. And these 7 lifetimes is always in heaven and in the human realm. And each time you come back, either heaven or human realm, you have very great blessings. You have long life compared to other people. You are beautiful, more beautiful compared to other devas and devis and humans. And then the third is sukhang. You are extremely happy, always happy inside. And then the 4th is balang. Balang is 2 things. One is you become famous. Secondly, you have selat. You wield worldly success, worldly power. So for lay people, you must always strive to attain Sotapanna, because if you don't attain stream entry by listening to the suttas, you have to go for rebirth again and again, countless times, for eternity. And in that long cycle of rebirths, you will fall into the 3 woeful planes again and again, more often than going up to human rebirth and heavenly rebirth. So, for lay people, it's very important to listen to the suttas. Even if you don't meditate, it's okay. If you can meditate to sharpen your mind, even better. Now, actually, in the same sutta 55.40 in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha said, if you don't listen to his words and attain stream entry, the Buddha said you are not a Buddhist at all. You are a Bahiro, external sect follower. So a lot of people, they think that they are Buddhists, but if they don't listen to the suttas, the Buddha said, you are not his follower. Because the Buddha called all his followers savaka, hearers or listeners. Whether it's monks or nuns or laymen or laywomen, all are called hearers, savakas, listeners of his word. In other words, listeners of his discourses, the suttas. Because if you don't listen to his suttas, your faith in the Buddha is not solid. 1 year you say you're a Buddhist. After a few years, you pray and you cannot get what you want, then you give up Buddhism. Yeah. But in Buddhism, we don't come to pai for, we come to swear for. Yeah. Follow the Buddha's footsteps. Lastly, I'd like to talk about some false beliefs. That some people believe that by doing certain things, you will have a good rebirth. For example, praying or making vows or crying for whatever you want. The Buddha said in the Sutta, I think Anguttara Nikaya 5.43, the Buddha said, what we want, we cannot get by prayers, we cannot get by vows, we cannot get by crying for it, thinking about it. Buddha said, you can get, why is there so much suffering in the world? The hell beings are crying out every day, praying for help. Who is helping them? The ghosts are crying every night, nothing to eat, walk on the streets, have to eat the dead dog or dead cat or dead rat or whatever, nothing to eat, they have to go to the jamban and eat shit. So they are all crying, who is helping? Nobody can help. Because the world is made by our mind. So it's like when you're having a nightmare at night, you're crying in your nightmare, who can help you in your nightmare? Nobody can help you. You have to wake up. So, there's some people say, for example, if they pray to Amitabha, last few moments they call out Amitabha's name, they will go to heaven. No such thing. A few years ago, I went to Telok Intan and to give a Dharma talk, and the Buddhist there told me an old lady, one of their members, had just died. And a few days before she died, she was crying every day. They asked her why. She said, "Why? Who has taken all my clothes? I'm naked." But everybody saw that she was wearing clothes. She was not naked, but she saw herself as naked. What does it mean? It means she's going to a rebirth as a naked ghost. And the thing was, they asked me why. She has been chanting Amitabha for 30 over years. What is important is your heart, the character inside, not the external. Wasted her time, her energy, 30 over years. And then some people believe you follow that religion, you will go to heaven. I had a relative who changed his religion from Taoism to another religion, and was very happy for 10 years. After 10 years, he had cancer. As he was dying, he saw ghosts, every day ghosts. And then he asked why. They could not explain to him. In the last moment, he shouted, "I don't believe in the religion anymore." And then too late. Now, some people think, also another wrong belief, that your last thought moment is very important. As you are dying, if your last thought, you think of a good thought, you go for a good rebirth. This partly comes from Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma, they talk about rebirth linking consciousness. When you're dying, your last thought, rebirth linking consciousness, will bring you for a good birth if you have a good thought. This is contradicted in the suttas. Why? There's one sutta, Samyutta Nikaya 55.21. Mahanama was a cousin of the Buddha, and every evening he would go to the monastery to help do some work, and then stay for the Dhamma talk, the Dhamma discussion at night. And maybe it finishes at 10 o'clock at night. Every night he'll walk back to his home in the city. The Buddha's time, all the monasteries were forest monasteries, a few kilometers from the city. And the city, they have these city gates, and they are closed for the night. So every night he walks back in the dark. Last time, tak ada lampu jalan. No street lights. So he asked the Buddha, he said, every night I walk back in the dark like that. I was thinking maybe one night I get a tragic death. Somebody might murder me or might get run over by a wild horse or a wild bull or something. Then at the last moment when I'm dying,
we would like to present a Buddhist hymn titled Mortal and Immortal. Now, it is time for the weekly Dhammapada sermon, a collection of sayings of Buddha, which is one of the best known Buddhist scriptures and most widely read. The weekly Dhammapada sermon, 85, will be presented by Venerable Professor Bhante Sivali. Let us welcome Bhante Sivali to present a brief sermon on the verse 85 of the Dhammapada.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening. Welcome to the Dhammapada program on the Bdtv. Thank you for coming. Today, we are going to discuss the verse number 85 and of course verse number 86 too, because these two verses have similar meanings. 85 begins with Appakate manussesu yejana paragamino atayam itara paja tirameva anudhavati. That means it is a very simple verse that was uttered by the Buddha. When someone reported to Buddha of the incident that happened on one occasion, a group of people from Savatthi city made special offerings to the monks collectively, and they arranged for some monks to deliver discourses throughout the night. Many in the audience could not sit up whole night, but most of the time they were drowsy and half asleep. It is normal. The preachers must understand the situation, physical situation and mental situation of the people. How come we expect people to stay up late night and listen to the Dhamma? They won't benefit it. So, there were only a few who listened attentively to the discourse. At dawn, when the monks told the Buddha about what happened the previous night, the Buddha replied, most people are attached to this world. Only a very few reach the other shore of the Nibbana. Of those who wish to cross over to the other side, only a handful are successful or capable. Successful. Those others who are left behind keep running alone. So those masses who have not been able to reach liberation continue to be caught up in the long journey of samsara. That is the literal meaning of this verse. So it is the other verse, 86 also, the realm over which Mara has sway are difficult to cross. Only those who quite righteously follow the way indicated in the well-articulated teachings of the Buddha will be able to cross these realms that are so difficult to cross. In a nutshell, what the Buddha said here is those who are committed, those who strive hard to achieve their desired goal by practicing the Dhamma vehemently, they are capable of, they are the people who will be able to cross the shore. So this is what we take from here, the meaning, Dhamme Dhammanuvattino, the teaching of the Buddha and those who practice the teachings. The Buddha expounded his teaching initially to the 5 ascetics and preached his first sermon, the turning of the wheel of truth, Dhamma Chakkapavatana Sutta, in Pali language. And he preached his first sermon, the turning of the wheel of truth. Thus did the enlightened one proclaim Dhamma and set in motion the matchless wheel of truth. With the proclamation of the Dhamma, for the first time, and with the conversion of the 5 ascetics, Kondanya, Bhadya, Vappa, Manam, Asaji, by names, those 5 ascetics, at the deer park in Sipatana, Migadaya, became the birthplace of the Buddha's dispensation and of the Sangha, the community of the monks, the ordained disciples. The Buddha addressed his disciples, the accomplished one. Those disciples accomplished, called Arahant, attained enlightenment, and said, released am I am released, O monks, from all ties, whether human or divine. Human or divine, I am released. You also are delivered from fetters, whether human or divine. Not only me, you are also delivered and free from all these fetters. Go now and wander for the welfare and happiness of many, out of compassion for the world, for the gain, welfare and happiness of gods and men. Charata bhikkhave charikam attaya hitaya sukhaya. Let not 2 of you proceed in the same direction. Proclaim the Dhamma that is excellent in the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. Thus is his teaching, possessed of the meaning and the letter, both utterly perfect. Proclaim the life of purity, the holy life consummate and pure. There are beings with little dust in their eyes who will be lost through not hearing the Dhamma. There are beings who will understand the Dhamma. I also shall go to Uruvela. This Buddha is telling them to go forth for the benefit of others, to preach his noble teaching. And here the Buddha said, after dispatching the first 5 disciples, Arahants, a Buddha, after dispatching them, Buddha said, I also shall go to Uruvela, to Senanigama, to teach the Dhamma. Thus, Buddha did commence his sublime mission, which lasted to the end of his life. With his disciples, he walked the highways and byways of Jambu Dipa, land of the rose apple. Another name for India, Jambu Dipa. Jambu, land of the rose apple, Jambu Dipa. rose apple is Jambu. Deepa means island. Jambu Deepa is another name for India. That's the meaning is land of the rose apple. Enfolding all within the aura of his boundless compassion and wisdom, Buddha left for Uruvela, the Senanigam, to preach his noble teaching. After dispatching the main first 5 disciples for preaching the Dhamma. The Buddha, the supremely enlightened one, made no distinction of caste, clan, or class when communicating the Dhamma. Men and women from different walks of life, the rich and the poor, the lowliest and highest, the literate and the illiterate, Brahmins and outcasts, princes and paupers, saints and criminals, listened to the Buddha, took refuge in him, and followed him who showed the path to peace and enlightenment. The path is open to all. His Dhamma was for all. Caste, which was a matter of vital importance to the Brahmins in India, was one of utter indifference to Buddha, who strongly condemned so debasing a system. The Buddha freely admitted into the Sangha, the community of Sangha disciples, people from all castes and classes, freely admitted into the Sangha. They were fit to live the holy life, and some of them later distinguished themselves in the Sangha, in the community of ordained disciples. The Buddha was the only contemporary teacher who endeavored to blend in mutual tolerance and concord those who hitherto had been rent asunder by differences of caste and class. Caste and class. The Buddha also raised the status of women in India. Generally speaking, during the time of the Buddha, owing to Brahmanical influence, women were not given much recognition. Sometimes they were held in contempt, although there were solitary cases of their showing erudition in matters of philosophy, and so on. In his magnanimity, the Buddha treated women with consideration and civility, and pointed out to them to the path to peace, purity, and sanctity. The Buddha established the order of nuns, Bhikkhuni Sasana, the order of the nuns, the ordained women disciples. For the first time in history, For never before this had there been an order where women could lead a celibate life of renunciation. Remember this. Women from all walks of life joined the order. The lives of quite a number of these noble nuns, their strenuous endeavors to win the goal of freedom, and their peace of joy at deliverance of mind are graphically described in the Therigatha. While journeying from village to village, from town to town, instructing, enlightening, and gladdening the many, the Buddha saw how superstitious folk, steeped in ignorance, slaughtered animals, worship of their gods, he spoke to them of life which all can take but none can give, life which all creatures love and strive to keep, wonderful, dear and pleasant unto each, even to the meanest. The Buddha never encouraged wrangling and animosity. Addressing the monks, he once said, I quarrel not with the world. Not with the world, monks, it is the world that quarrels with me. An exponent of the Dhamma quarrels not with anyone in the world. Not with anyone in the world. To the Buddha, the practice of the Dhamma is of great importance. Therefore, the Buddhists have to be Dhammanvatti, those who practice the teachings. Practice the teaching. It is what the Buddha is also emphasizing. Practice the teaching, experience teaching. The practical aspects are the most important and essential in the attainment of the spiritual goals indicated by the Buddha's teaching, by Buddha Dharma. There are no shortcuts to real peace and happiness. As the Buddha has pointed out in many a sermon, this is the only path which leads to the summit of the good life. Summit of the good life, which goes from lower to higher levels of the mental realm. It is a gradual training, a training in speech, deed, and thought, which brings about true wisdom, culminating in full enlightenment and the realization of Nibbana. It is a path for all, irrespective of one's race, class, or creed, a path to be cultivated every moment of our daily life. The one and only aim of the Buddha in pointing out this teaching is stated in these words. Enlightened is the Buddha. He teaches the Dhamma for enlightenment. Buddhoso Bhagava Bodhaya Dhamman Deseti. Tame is Dhamma. He teaches the Dhamma for taming. He teaches the Dhamma for training, for taming. Calmness Dhamma. He teaches the Dhamma for calming. Then he teaches Dhamma. Having crossed over, the Buddha teaches the Dhamma for crossing over the long journey of samsara. Tinnoso Bhagava Taranaya Dhamman Deseti, Parinibhutoso Bhagava Parinibbanaya Dhamman Deseti. Buddha having attained to Nibbana, he teaches the Dhamma for attainment of Nirvana. This is what Buddha was doing. Having attained supreme enlightenment, he teaches others for attaining the enlightenment. This being the purpose for which the Buddha teaches the Dhamma, it is obvious that the aim of the listener or the follower of the path should also be the same. It has to be the same. No, there's no other way. And not anything else. The aim, for instance, of a merciful and understanding physician should be to cure the patients that come to him for treatment. And the patient's one and only aim, as we know, is to get himself cured as quickly as possible. That is the only aim of the sick person. The Buddha, the compassionate teacher, is no more, but he has left a legacy, the sublime Dhamma. The Dhamma is not an invention, but a discovery. It is an essential, and it's also an eternal law. It is everywhere with each man and woman. Buddhist or non-Buddhist, Eastern or Western, the Dhamma has no labels. It knows no limit of time, space, or race. It is for all time. Each person who lives the Dhamma sees its light, sees and experiences it himself. It cannot be communicated to another, for it has to be self-realized. Therefore, it is important to understand the deep meaning of these verses. Buddha teaches us to apply the Dhamma and thereby follow the path that he has enunciated. At the beginning it is good, middle it is good, at the end it is good. This is the specific characteristics of his teaching. I therefore would like to request the listeners to try to learn Buddha's teaching and apply it to your daily life. May you all be well and happy.
That concludes today's program. If you have any questions about the contents of our broadcast, please feel free to reach out to us at info@buddhadharmatv.com. Our dedicated team remains committed to sharing the profound teachings of the Buddha, helping you walk the path of wisdom and enlightenment. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time. Namo Buddhaya.